Carousel of Life, Day 2, Seat Buddies. A Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction written for adrinetteapril 2019 following the prompt shared on Tumblr. You can find the link and hashtag in the description below, as well as a link to the previous chapter in case you missed it. Or you can click on the card in the upper right corner for the playlist. Enjoy the story! Where do we even start? Marinette spun around excitedly as she, Alya, Nino, and Adrien walked through the gates of the amusement park, taking in the brightly colored rides that towered over them in a jungle of iron. I'm so excited! I've never been on a roller coaster, Adrien admitted quietly, sporting a childlike grin as he looked around in amazement. Alya slipped her phone into her back pocket and unfolded the park map. Nino leaned over her shoulder. Ooh, we have to do the Daredevil's Thrill! There's a 500-foot drop! He jabbed his finger at one of the rides on the map. Come on, I heard it was awesome! Don't you think we should start Sunshine off slow? Alya raised an eyebrow, giving Adrien a sidelong glance. I can handle it, Adrien said with a smirk. Marinette gave him a wary look. It did seem a bit ambitious. Why don't we start with the shell shocker? It looks fun too. Fine, let's go, Nino said reluctantly, draping an arm over Alya's shoulders and turning them in the direction of the more moderately sized ride. Marinette grinned at Adrien. She still couldn't get over the fact that she had actually kissed him last Friday. Yeah, it had been for a play, and she was no closer in communicating her true feelings to him. For him, it surely didn't mean anything. But that didn't negate the fact that it had happened, and it had been an absolute dream. Her head was still in the clouds over it. And now she was spending the day at an amusement park with him, almost like a double date. A tiny part of Marinette's brain told her that thinking like this was kind of pathetic, definitely unhealthy, verging on lying to herself. But she chose to enjoy what she could get. And at least, as long as he was near her, there was reason to hope for the future. Adrien's reciprocating smile was a little lopsided. Shall we then? He jabbed his thumb at Alya and Nino's receding backs. Sure, I'll race you, Marinette said gleefully, the words escaping her before she could think. She internally winced as she imagined Adrien judging her childish behavior and refusing to partake in such shenanigans. Yet to her delight, he let out a laugh and took off. Last one there's a piece of camembert. Hey, cheater! Marinette giggled and sprang after him a split second later, taking pleasure in the way Alya and Nino's heads whipped around in surprise as they passed them in a flurry. At the final stretch, Marinette broke into a sprint, arms and legs flying, and managed to pass Adrien. He was clutching his stomach, breathless with laughter, which is probably what slowed him down because she was certain he was in better shape than she was. The guardrail of the queue area let out a clang as she crash-landed against it, panting, her cheeks sore from smiling. You're fast, Adrien gasped, collapsing on the rail beside her. Marinette peeked at him from under her bangs, marveling at the pink flush of exertion that had blossomed on his cheeks. And your stinky cheese! Adrien laughed harder than Marinette expected, wiping tears from his eyes. Let's get a head start in line, Marinette suggested. Alya and Nino will thank us for it. They queued up, waiting for their friends, but after 10 minutes, Alya and Nino still hadn't appeared and weren't answering phone calls. The walk doesn't take that long, Marinette remarked, scanning the crowd for Nino's trademark red hat. The weather was nice, so the amusement park was packed. Did they get lost? No way, Adrien said under his breath. The ride was a beeline from where they'd been standing. Maybe they ditched us? That wouldn't be surprising, actually. Marinette wouldn't put it past Alya to intentionally leave her alone with Adrien, knowing how she felt about him. It was a perfect opportunity, if unplanned. She hoped Adrien wouldn't catch on to it. He leaned against the rail, naturally assuming a very model-like pose that made Marinette avert her eyes to avoid staring. They probably just wanted to be alone together. I don't mind. He winked at Marinette as if the two of them were in cahoots, doing Alya and Nino a favor. It figured that he'd be so oblivious, which, quite frankly, was a relief. Marinette latched onto his theory, nodding vigorously to express her agreement. The The line moved faster than expected, and before Marinette knew it, she was clambering over the side of the roller coaster car, brushing knees with Adrien as they pulled the safety bar down with a series of clicks. "Ready?" Adrien asked her with a toothy grin, eyes crinkling with excitement. "I should be asking you, Mr. First-Timer." "So ready." The roller coaster jerked forward and started its slow roll toward the first downhill slope. "Woohoo! Here we go!" Marinette cheered, and Adrien was already laughing beside her. Marinette loved roller coasters, and the fact that she now spent a large portion of her days swinging through the air from tall structures hadn't spoiled them for her. All the slopes had her laughing from her belly in exhilaration, and the fact that Adrien was laughing right along beside her made her even more giddy. "Okay, I was seriously missing out in life," Adrien said as he helped Marinette out of the car at the end of the ride. "Which one's next?" "I was actually thinking of getting some ice cream." Adrien pointed out a parlor nearby. "I screamed so much my throat's raw." He winked. Marinette giggled. "Adrien, making puns? You did not just say that." A few minutes later, they were seated at a table under an umbrella, eating ice cream with tiny spoons. Black cherry for Adrien, pistachio for Marinette. "Marinette, I just realized something," Adrien said abruptly. "What? Did we just get roped into a date?" Date? Marinette's face went aflame. So the possibility hadn't gone unnoticed. "No, of course not. We're just hanging out, right? As friends. I mean, unless you want it to be a date. Do you? I mean, never mind. Just forget I said anything." Adrien cracked up. "Relax, Marinette. I was joking. Anyway, I don't mind being on a friend date with you." How was he always so smooth? "Oh, okay. Good," she replied, her heart sinking at the word friend. Not that she hadn't expected it. "So, about that kiss." Wait, what? He was bringing up the kiss? Now? Why? Heat rose in Marinette's cheeks again, and she noted that Adrien looked a little pink, too. Maybe it was just the midday heat. "What about it?" Marinette asked, trying to sound casual. "I hope it didn't, make things awkward between us. I was totally cool with it, just to let you know." "Right, I was, cool with it too." Marinette's voice came out a little too high-pitched. She cringed. "Okay, cool. Just wanted to get that out there." "Yeah, don't worry. Everything's cool between us." She winked over her bowl of ice cream, internally cursing herself for letting Cat Noir's version of flirting rub off on her. This was terrible. Why did she think she could be alone with Adrien without turning stupid? The weird thing was, he was actually beside himself with laughter. Interesting discovery of the day. Adrien had a dumb sense of humor, and the puns seemed to dissipate the awkwardness of the situation. Maybe the cat was onto something after all. Adrien had calmed down, and Marinette took another bite of ice cream, feeling self-conscious. She was finally in a date-like situation with Adrien, and she had no idea what to say. What if he found her boring and never wanted to spend time with her again? "Hey, you want to hear something funny?" The tone of his voice brought Marinette's mental freakout to a halt. Contrary to his words, it sounded like his thoughts were far from anything humorous. "What is it?" Marinette asked softly, putting down her spoon. Adrien was swirling his ice cream around with his spoon with a faraway expression on his face. "That was my third kiss that didn't count, if you know what I mean. I've never been kissed for real. Kinda sad." His eyes widened as he seemed to realize how he sounded, and a flush spread across his cheeks. "Not that I'm some Casanova or anything. Not that I think I should have gotten kissed by now. It's just 3 kisses that don't count, you know? Never mind. I'm digging myself a hole here." It was cute and funny to see him flustered for once, yet the thought of Adrien kissing other people made Marinette's stomach turn in knots. Marinette lay a hand on his shoulder, forcing a smile. "It's okay, Adrien," she said reassuringly, and saw him relax. "If you know what I mean," he'd said. Did she know what he meant? Maybe the 2 previous kisses were for modeling shoots? She didn't remember any ads featuring him kissing anyone, but it was possible. She felt a hint of jealousy at the thought of him getting intimate with other pretty models, but if she wanted to date him someday, she'd have to realize potential on-camera kisses as a reality of his profession. At least he didn't count them as real. Then again, she had no right to feel upset. She had kissed people before herself. And by people, she meant Cat Noir. Of all people. The thought made her feel guilty. She didn't like Cat Noir that way. And the kiss during Oblivio had been completely unfair. She hadn't had any memories. She couldn't be held responsible for whatever had gone through her amnesiac brain. Yet she'd lost her first kiss, which she'd wanted to save for Adrien, and there was no getting it back. As she thought about it, she suddenly realized that Adrien's statement was eerily true for her, too. She'd kissed Cat Noir twice. The play had been the third. 3 kisses. "Want to hear something weird?" Marinette said tentatively, a little hesitant to mention previous kisses to her crush. But it was too much of a coincidence not to say anything. "What?" Adrien looked at her expectantly. "I'm in the same boat." "As in, you've never been kissed?" Marinette shook her head and blushed. "Not for real, and that was my third that didn't count." "Really?" She giggled nervously. "Yeah. I mean, what are the chances, right?" Adrien didn't laugh, but gave her a scrutinizing look before his face broke into a bemused smile. "Pretty crazy thing to have in common." Marinette's ringtone chimed, and she was grateful for an escape from the awkward topic. "Hey, Alya." "Hey, girl. Sorry we ditched you back there. Nino got distracted by funnel cake, then you guys were too far ahead in the line, so we figured we'd just sit that one out." "Right. I'm sure you didn't do that on purpose." "Of course not." Marinette could hear the exaggerated wink in Alya's voice. "Anyway, how was Adrien's initiation? You guys ready for Daredevil?" "You didn't go on it yet?" "Without you guys? Psh, girl, who do you think we are?" Alya's voice projected from the phone earpiece despite speakerphone being turned off, so Adrien heard everything. He looked excited about the ride and flashed Marinette a thumbs up. She grinned in response. "Where should we meet you?" "We're by the tower drop." "Be there in 5." Marinette and Adrien drank the last of their ice creams, which had turned to milk while they talked, and made their way to the meeting place. The rest of the day was a priceless time spent between friends. It was Adrien's first amusement park experience, and Marinette couldn't be happier than to witness his reactions, filing all his adorable facial expressions into her mental photo album of treasures. And, of course, she couldn't help but snap a few real shots on her phone, too. Adrien even gave her a plush black cat phone strap that he'd won at a carnival game, saying he thought she'd like it since she had other cat stuff in her room. A little surprised and delighted that he remembered, she immediately attached the trinket to her phone. Marinette decided the day had been even better than the kiss. It might have been a friend date, but it was real. Marinette felt they'd grown closer over the course of the day, and she couldn't ask for more at the moment. Thank you for listening to Chapter 2 of Carousel of Life. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you liked it, help me out by leaving a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to tune in for more Adrinette. Until next time.